podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Another draft is in the books. The Miami Dolphins have made their selections. We know who are going to be not on the roster, but who will be competing for places over the next few months, ready to go for the season. Before we delve into all of that, I'm going to welcome obviously our host, Mr. Charlie Touche. How are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. If you hear the baritone, the low-key baritone, Kadeem, it's like that's that radio voice. You feel me? You know how you wake up, you wake up and you get the nice low-key baritone or the tuba going. You feel me? Kadeem, man, we just wrapped up the 2024 NFL draft. I think it's gonna be an exciting episode, man. We got a lot to catch up on. This was my first draft, and I said I'll find out which draft this was. How many years has it been since I missed the draft? And this is the first year I missed the draft, and I don't know how long. So I have the answer for you guys. This draft, I'll search back some drafts and see which one was the last one that I missed. But I didn't feel right, Kadeem, missing a draft, bro. I'm like, yo, I feel like man, I can't miss no more drafts, man. But all in all, how we feeling, Kadeem?
Before I quickly delve into that, welcome to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Hammer, says Hulk, smash that like button. I agree, Hulk, smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to Lawrence Pesky, says let's go. Shout out to Tim Caro, says go Finns. Robert Ashton says hi guys. And then he says hi Kadeem, hi Charlie, nice to see you out of the Dolphins war room. And we will get into that later. No, it feels promising. It feels like this is the time when everyone has like the best and highest expectations of in having an amazing season. Everyone thinks they nailed the draft unless you're the Atlanta Falcons, but we'll get off to that on Patreon. And in terms of the Dolphins pick, I don't hate them, I don't love them, and I will get into that a bit later on. But yeah, Charlie, given that you didn't see the draft live, I was essentially texting you throughout the draft saying, hey, this has happened, that's happened. Looking back, what do you make of the Dolphins 2024 draft class?
So you said everyone loves their draft and everybody's feeling good about the draft, people on their teams and stuff. Should I throw this hat on? Should I? Let's do it. We'll throw the Dolphins dad cap on. Camo, Charlie Camo. Camo Chuck. Hey, okay, let's do it. I don't feel too good about this, Kadeem. And not only do I not feel good about this draft class, this is the first draft class since maybe 2019 that I wasn't in love with. I don't love this. You know what I'm saying? And for this on this podcast, we get a lot of pushback. People like, oh, Charlie's always positive. You know what I'm saying? Charlie never says nothing bad about the Dolphins. Charlie, like we go on an 8-game losing streak. Oh, no, it's all right. We still got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Actually, we did have a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like, look what we did. We came back. We had like a 7-game losing streak, 7-game win streak, and it was feeling really good. But Tua's always the best quarterback ever. I mean, dog was an MVP candidate for 2 years in a row. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? If I feel good about something, I'm gonna let people know I feel good about something. If I don't feel good about something, I'm gonna let you know I don't feel good about something. And in the past couple seasons, the Miami Dolphins gave us a lot to feel good about. And I can't be alone in that, right? Like I know we felt something. We didn't just put up 70 on Denver and have the sexiest offense in the league for the past 2 seasons, and I'm tripping out of my mind. Like, yeah, I felt good about it. And the drafts, all of those drafts in the past few years, I'm like, yo, this feels really good. This one did not feel really good, Kadeem. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie to you. we'll get into the picks. But I was not in love with this draft. And I do believe the Dolphins came back around and saved it, though. So it wasn't like a complete disaster. But the first couple days, first 2 days, day one and day two, I was left feeling almost like we won the Super Bowl and we didn't recover enough in the draft. Like, no, we didn't win the Super Bowl though, bro. Like, this is not enough to reload. So we'll get into that. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, shout out to everyone who joined me on the lives for days 1 and days 2. I obviously wasn't around for day 3. Day 1 was interesting because like 6 quarterbacks went inside the first, something like 12 picks, and then like offensive linemen started going. And
Hold on, Kadeem. Did you say 6 quarterbacks went in the first 12 picks?
I believe so, yeah.
Hey, do we have a Patreon episode of last minute locks? The last minute, listen. So we didn't want to tell everybody what the last minute lock was during the draft because it was exclusively on our Patreon. We have a easy money pick of the week every week during the season, and I think I went 12-5 this year, Kadeem.
About that,
And
yeah.
I think like I went 11-6 last year. So there's nothing to bet on. So there's no easy money pick of the week until the draft comes around. Draft comes around, Kadeem, and I cut you off. But the draft comes around. And do you care to share what I text you the morning of the draft? Like, hey, bro, I text you something like, you think we could do something real quick?
You literally, I will go through all the draft picks. You said,
hold on. Not what I said. Not the. I just had a thought. Like, yo, can we go today? Can you share that thought?
You said you got time to do last minute lock on Patreon real quick. Won't take no more than 5 minutes.
How long was the 8 minute? How long was the Patreon last minute lock that we put out?
It was. Let's have a look very quickly. Patreon when it wants to work. Easy. 8 minutes 26 seconds, and about a minute of that is intro outro. It's about 7 minutes.
So we did like a 7-minute last minute lock. And for those of us who are locked in on our Patreon, it was the 7 minutes that hopefully you guys benefited from, because we hit up and hammered Michael Penix Jr. And this is Go Time Dolphins. We'll get into, actually another Patreon episode for Extra Point, and we'll talk about that. But the Michael Penix Jr. lock hits on Patreon, and I hope somebody got the benefit from it.
Yeah. So, yes, as I was saying, so the quarterback started going, offensive linemen started going, and I have these conspiracy theories. So, like in 2020, I was like, you will never convince me that the Dolphins were not taking DeAndre Swift at pick 26. Like, you can never convince me that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I'll get more over to it on Patreon, but I reckon pick 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they took the Dolphins pick and the Dolphins pivoted. Now, Chris Greer, after the first round, said that they had no intention of taking offensive linemen in the first round and that they were looking to trade back into the first round, but no one kind of like wants to make a deal. Cool, fair enough. Chop Robinson is someone who was mocked to the Dolphins in the in the build up to the draft. I think we mentioned him about once or twice on this on the show, basically because he could play both on the edge or on the interior. So he's kind of like, a multifaceted defensive player, which the Dolphins kind of needed. But I still would have gone offensive line in the first round. I can also see once Fatanu went off the board at pick 20, your offensive linemen you kind of had left were Graham Barton or Jackson Power Johnson in terms of people who were considered first round picks. Graham Barton goes, 5 picks later, and Jackson Power Johnson goes in the second round. So I can understand if you're the Dolphins, Fatanu's off the board, and you go, you know what? We're now going to pivot to defense. Chop Robinson, I don't hate it, but it's not something which I would have done personally.
I think it's a bit telling that Dolphins went, we'll get to the second pick, which is Patrick Paul, was a tackle. He's a tackle too big, in my opinion, to be a guard. This is not I don't believe they're gonna get fancy and slide this dude all around the line that like we usually do. What is he like 6'8"?
I
Like
think he's 6'7". Hammer says Patrick Paul has already started making waves. When he arrived in Miami, people started yelling Godzilla and ran for the docks. The
bro.
dude is huge.
So like if my 6'8", 330, massive mate,
Yeah,
massive mate. Listen, so I don't think he's going to be a guard. I think he's going to be a legit tackle. And I think it was telling that the Dolphins didn't go interior offensive line in the first round when you had Graham Barton and Zach Frazier as the alarm goes off outside. But yeah, so I thought it was telling that they pivoted, like you said, bro. And I just wish, and we said this leading up to the draft, if Troy Fautanu gets into remotely the neighborhood of the Miami Dolphins, I want to see us be aggressive to go get him. We did not go get him. This was the dude I was like, he's going to be a 12-year starter. Charlie Wilson came on the podcast and said he's the best tackle in the draft. He's better than the other one, Latham and Joe Alt. And he went one spot in front of us. You know, if history tells it, and well, not history, if we flash forward, and dude is a Hall of Famer, we're always gonna look back and be like, one spot ahead of us, right? But I ain't gonna lie, his story is pretty cool. He was a Steelers fan growing up. Troy Polamalu was his favorite player. He ends up in Pittsburgh. Fautanu, a oos, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta love the story, you know what I'm saying? But we get sniped. If this was a fantasy football draft, this is what it feels like to get sniped, like one pick in front of us. So that was discouraging for sure.
yeah, definitely. Tim Carroll says I agree. The Steelers took a lock for the Dolphins. He then adds, I would rather the first two picks for more finished, polished products, but should be very good for the future. And I think that's why a lot of people are down on the first two Dolphins picks, because they aren't starters from day one. But Josh Casca and Kevin Dern, both from Dolphins Talk, same on Dolphins Weekly, had a conversation on Twitter, which basically, and I agree with, the Dolphins aren't in win now mode. Fans want them to be in win now mode, but all of their moves throughout the offseason, they kind of said we're restocking for the next few years. I think that's why they picked Chop Robinson. Like, Chop Robinson will play this year, and the chances are Patrick Paul will have to play this year, but they aren't people who are going to come in day one if everyone's healthy and be on the field. So I can understand. And again, you went on the same old Dolphins show last week and basically said that the Dolphins had this habit of essentially drafting guys, rookies, and not starting them, and that needs to change. I don't think it changed this year. I think Patrick Paul and Chop Robinson are both picks for the next 2 to
For the
10,
future,
15
they're
years.
future picks.
Yeah.
A word you heard thrown around a lot was developmental, but I disagree. I think the Dolphins are in win now mode. I think they're in win now mode, but selected players that do not have to contribute as much right now, because if you're in win now mode now, not too many rookies are going to come in today and contribute to a roster that has so many players that need to get paid on it. That's my opinion. But that's how we look at it. That's how I look at it. I'll say this: Chop Robinson. You've heard he has the fastest first step in the as an edge rusher in the draft. I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of promising things to these prospects. I ain't gonna lie. Like I'm not just down talking and Dolphins blew it and I don't like it and they should have. I'm not here for that. You know what, Kadeem, bro? I feel like I'm a very unbiased person. I feel like I shoot it straight shooter. When I didn't like Ryan Tannehill, but I believe Ryan Tannehill could do some good things. I'm like, you know what? I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want him to be my quarterback, but he is our quarterback. That doesn't mean I have to believe in him just because he's our quarterback. But at the same time, I do believe you can win with Tannehill. There are some things that Tannehill brought to the table. I'm like, you know what? I don't like Tannehill, but I see a path to success with Tannehill. So the reason I say that is because I'm just not a homer, and everything the Dolphins do, I'm all going to hunt for it. I see it. I just tell it how I see it. And with Chop Robinson, you never know. Maybe you struck gold with the 21st pick. Dude played in the same school as Michael Parsons. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of looked pretty nice. I ain't gonna lie. He looks really good. I just don't think he's that dude. Like, for me, when people are like, well, who are you? Like, I'm Charlie Touche. Like, I got Touche's 24. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. So I don't think he's that dude. But he's nice though. He's nice. I just don't think he's a first round pick. I don't think he's gonna contribute as much as we need him now. In essence, we drafted Andrew Van Ginkel's replacement in the first round. That's all I'm saying. So when it got to Patrick Paul, second round pick, listen, shout out to Nick Saban and a lot of other people who contributed in the draft specials. All of them said, look, this dude doesn't have it yet, but he has the attributes, the physical attributes of someone who's going to be great. You know what I'm saying? So he just needs to be coached up. And who coaches up people, underperformers, better than on the O-line, better than Miami Dolphins in the past couple of years? So to have that raw talent, to have those physical attributes come to the Miami Dolphins, I do trust this. I trust Barry. I trust McDaniel. I trust Chris Greer. I think they'll get it right. And last thing I'll say about Patrick Paul is, friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt, was a second round pick, and he was a developmental guard from Louisiana.
Sounds about right. I'll double check.
Cajun Cajuns. Louisiana Tech. Nah, not Tech. I don't remember. University of Louisiana? No, that's LSU. I don't know, but he was in Louisiana.
Louisiana. It just says Louisiana.
Cool, right? And he was a developmental player. And he did not come out firing off the blocks, Kadeem. If we remember, he played tackle, underperformed that tackle. Robert Hunt did. And now he's $100 million later. You know what I'm saying? So I trust the Miami Dolphins, and I believe Patrick Paul will be nice. I just wanted something more finished for today. I wanted today come in and oh yeah, we're solid. I.e., if you look at the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers,
I hate them so much.
If you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kadeem, bro, Pittsburgh Steelers took every lineman that I wanted the Miami Dolphins to take, bro, and I am so sour. We'll get into that on Extra Point on Patreon. We'll talk about the entire NFL, but the Pittsburgh Steelers sniped every lineman that I wanted for the Miami Dolphins, 3 of them to be exact. And I'm tired of the Kansas City Chiefs taking my O lineman from Touche 24 and then winning the Super Bowl with them, bro. Like, I'm tired of it, bro. Like, can I just get like 10 minutes with elevator pitch? Let me get 30 seconds with Chris Greer. Like, pitch some stuff, bro. Like, I could do this, man.
Yeah, shout out to IMAX says afternoon Kadeem, Charlie in chat. Joe Levesque says fins up. Chill, we will get to your question in bonus time, so stick around. We will answer this. It's fantasy stuff. I'm not a fantasy guy, but we will get to it. The Patrick Paul pick. So again, you weren't watching the draft, but I was messaging you on day 2, and the Eagles moved up something like 12 spots and gave up, I think it was a second round next year. And I think when it might have been Jackson Power Johnson went to the Raiders, I think it was kind of like the Dolphins should have moved up, but the Dolphins, one, didn't have the capital. And I'm sorry, I'm not moving a second round pick next year to go get a center/guard. I think that's too rich, in my opinion.
For interior offensive alignment, it is too rich.
Yeah. But yeah, and again, I'm watching the draft and I'm sitting there going, Zach Frazier in the second round is looking good. Pittsburgh Steelers, I hate you. Like, the Steelers double dipped the chip on offensive line and then later on took someone else. I was like, again, fair play to them. But yeah, the Patrick Paul draft pick, again, people are annoyed because he can't, or you should not kick this guy inside. He's a pure tackle. It is what it is. But I think there were others who were saying, and again, it's just mock drafts, this guy was getting mocked back in the first round. So to get him where you did, and I think both the Chop Robinson pick and the Patrick Paul pick, they both have the intangible stuff that you can't teach.
Yeah.
And I think
It's
that's why the Dolphins.
it's quality there, bro. It's a quality pick. And
Yeah.
even with something that my co-host Kadeem Simmons coined, Patrick Paul is blue chip character, bro. So Kadeem like to say blue chip character over blue chip talent. What is it?
Sounds like that. I need to. I haven't said it in a while, so I forgot what it is.
Yeah,
I think it's like blue chip personality over blue chip talent, something like that.
I think it's blue chip character, blue chip person talent. But anyway,
Yeah,
dog,
yeah.
Patrick Paul is a politician, Holmes, and not in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude can speak. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell when again, friends of the podcast, Brendan Jones, Miles Gaskin, all them boys that I met, you can see how Patrick Paul fits into the solid human being part of the conversation. So the Dolphins know who they want. They want that type of person. But if you ready, Kadeem, we can go on to Jalen Wright.
Very, very quickly. So Tim Carroll says to have Armstead to learn from had to be a great thing. Hammer says Patrick Paul hurt 0 times, plus he was a captain. And yet the only thing I don't want to run to teach Paul is how to be injury prone. And I think the thing with Patrick Paul is that Chris Greer said it, Patrick Paul wanted to be in Miami. He wants to be coached by Butch Barry. He wants to be a part of this team. And I think the Dolphins, again, they want people who are willing to learn and who have high floor, high ceiling. If the Dolphins can train, coach Patrick Paul to be what they think could be, and with those intangibles, you are looking at the second coming of Teron Armstead, who won't be injured. You've got Fender Podcast, Austin Jackson at right tackle, Patrick Paul at left tackle. Your bookends are sorted, and you can, essentially use free agency and hopefully the draft of the next few years to build your interior offensive line. So yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I will say this: Patrick Paul gets it figured out faster than later. I'm dead serious. I believe Paul will be solid by week 14. It's gonna be, hey, we got something here. So yeah, I don't love that we went Chop and Paul. I felt like there was prospects that we had in our grasp, but it doesn't mean that I dislike Chop and Paul. Like I don't rock with y'all. Nothing like that. These are not players that I did not want at all. This is not that. I do think Patrick Paul gets it figured out fairly quickly. And again, with those attributes, he's going to be something. And some you just said, it slipped my mind, bro. And I was going to say something about it. Dang, I forgot what it was. And I'm gonna play this back, and I'm gonna be sour that I forgot it. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, no, you said let's get on to the next pick. So, and again, this was a pick that I see a lot of people dislike on social media because the Dolphins moved up to do it. But and again, I understand it's for different players, all that kind of stuff. The Dolphins, going into this draft, had 3 third-round picks next year. They've got their own and the guaranteed 2 comp picks for, I think it's Christian Wilkins and Robert Hunt. Now, the comp picks haven't come in yet, but the Dolphins know they've got 3 third-round picks next year. Well, I think we said before, use one of those third-round picks to move up and to jump up, to essentially do that. And they've done that, and they drafted a running back. Now, again, people are going, why have you used a pick next year to draft a running back? But did you not see how the running back room looked towards the end of the season with all those injuries? And when the Dolphins moved up to draft Jalen Wright, I think 6 of the next 14 picks were running backs. So the Dolphins clearly heard or knew that running backs were starting to go. So they moved up to get their running back in a somewhat weak guy. Charlie, very, very quickly then. George Pickens, trade value in 10-team, PPR, 1 QB. Guys offering 209. Which we proved be Ricky Purcell and another 2. Is it worth it? I think. Or what's George Pickens' trade value?
In a 10-team PPR fantasy football?
Seems that way, yeah. Guys offering 209.
I have Achane or Jalen Pope. No, I'm holding on to George Pickens. George Pickens has Russell Wilson throwing the ball. George Pickens is going to be a Pro Bowler this year. I'm that in the short answer. You don't trade George Pickens. And if you have him in Dynasty, you should not trade him in Dynasty either. Back to Jalen Wright real quick, Kadeem. I'll say this. I absolutely love that the Miami Dolphins traded a 3rd-round pick last year to come up into the 4th round this year. Bro, if that is, I loved it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how you do it. That is value right there. You're gonna have 3 threes. You're gonna package them, probably move up a little bit. Why not package one now and move up now and get whatever you want? Here's my problem with it, Kadeem. I love that they did it. I love that they went running back. I just didn't love the running back that they took. Like, I'm like, dang, bro. Like, if you remember Noah Igbenogany, when the Dolphins went corner in the 1st round, everybody's like, you don't need a corner. We got Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. Well, you wasted a pick. Bro, I love that the Dolphins, well, I didn't love that we took the pick because I wanted to trade up for a tackle. But I was okay with corner. I'm like, yo, I love that we went corner because now we could move on from Xavier Howard, and then we ended up having to pay him because Noah didn't work out. So I love what we wanted to do with going corner in that draft. Same way I love what we wanted to do here by going running back. I think I sound like I said, I just think that was like 103,000. You know what I'm saying? But I just think we took the wrong running back. And in my opinion, there wasn't a running back on the board that I wanted for the Miami Dolphins. Maybe Braylon Allen was still on the board, but Braylon Allen would not fit the Miami Dolphins the way Jalen Wright will. Like, so Jalen Wright is a better fit, but I don't think Wright is the right running back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How about adding another Jalen, by the way?
Listen, and a JW as well. Like, we get it. You love your Jalen's. Like, I'm glad for you. So Tim Cavill just kind of corrected me. Not 100% a 3rd-round pick. Depends on snaps played, a major injury, and could be a 4th round, I think. So thank you for that. The Jalen Wright pick seems like it's well loved across social media and draft guys. He's, again, the Dolphins have added more speed, but a running back is also really good in pass protection as well. And I think a lot of people have kind of, said, I think Carl Krabs might be the first to kind of point it out. Or maybe it was someone else. It might be Travis Wingfield. But Mike McDaniel loves his 2 running back, 1 tight end set. And towards the end of the year, again, Mosto were injured. Achan was injured. So you can kind of see the Dolphins were literally down to like Devon Ahmed and a few others. And the draft comparison to Wright is Raheem Mostert. So you basically got Raheem Mostert 2.0 if it all pans out in the 3rd round. I can understand where you're coming from. It does sound like the Dolphins have one of the steals of the draft. Hopefully it does pan out. Hopefully he hits the ground running, but he kind of doesn't need to, because as long as Mostert and Achan can stay healthy, they should be good.
So hear me out. Devon Achan was a Chris Greer pick. And it's odd because you would think the coach who is the running back, not guru, but he was the run game coordinator everywhere he went before he became OC, would pick his own running back. So it felt like, long story short, McDaniel even says this out of his own mouth last year. He like, Achan grew on me in the draft process. Chris Greer sent me film of him and he grew on me and we took him. I kind of feel like Chris Greer put his foot down. You know what I'm saying? Said, no, we're going Achan. Trust me. And it worked out, actually. And now I think McDaniel's like, yo, I ain't get my pick yet, bro. I fell out the chair the first year. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a 1st-round pick. You know what I'm saying? I still haven't had my running back. I went with your running back, which is good. But, yo, let me show you what I can do with my running back, which is a relationship. Like, yo, this is not a dictatorship. Chris Greer wants to share. Like, all right, well, cool. We actually need another running back, which we do. I'm not saying we shouldn't have went running back at all. I'm just saying we should have went a different running back, but the running back I wanted wasn't on the board anymore. So trading all the way up to take a running back that I didn't like, obviously I don't have to like him, because if he pans out with McDaniel, it'll be, oh, it looks like the Dolphins know what they're doing. And there's a lot of good things to like about Jalen Wright. Don't get it twisted. Again, this is not a man, I don't like this dude. You know what I'm saying? This player's trash or he's not good enough. There isn't anyone that we picked that I felt like, oh, I didn't want this person on my team. If you remember, I have tiers, which is I love this person for my team. I'm cool if we got this person on my team, and I don't want this person on my team at all. Those are the 3 tiers, and the Dolphins didn't take anybody in that 3rd tier.
That's great. Do you want to get into the final few picks in bonus time?
Yeah, we get into bonus time. Shout out to Kadeem Simmons sweater or jumper, if they how they say it in the UK.
It's a hoodie. It's got a hood.
I'm just saying, like, y'all call it a jumper or a hoodie?
This will be a hoodie.
All right. So he got the GTD times GTA sweater going on with myself, the voice of the podcast, Jay Simmons, and himself, Kadeem Simmons. Shout out to Jordan. That's a pretty dope sweater. Let's get into bonus time. We'll talk about the late round picks and everything else we got coming up. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Shout out to Jason Keck, just the chat. Jason, I genuinely want to know your opinion on the Dolphin draft, because I know you was adamant the Dolphins had to go offensive line in the 1st round. It didn't. They went in the 2nd round, but I would love to know your thoughts. Tim Carroll says jumpers would be hand knitted from wool. I call anything without a hoodie a jumper, but that's just my opinion. But Charlie, where's it gone? So Chill says, how about Mohamed Kamara? Reckons he's a steal of the draft, in his opinion. Hammer says, I don't know. I think it's a tie between the 2 Washingtons. Charlie, I so wish we could get another live reaction, another Touche 24 joining the Miami Dolphins. We don't. They can have to wait until next year when it happens again. But Mo Kamara, Todd Washington, and Malik Washington. What do you make of those 3 picks?
I mean, we got a safety in there too. Patrick Morris.
Yes.
But so Mohamed Kamara, I believe, Kadeem, if the Dolphins knew they were gonna get Mohamed Kamara that late, they would not have went Chop Robinson early. That's what I feel. So now they're looking Mo in the face like, we got to take him here. And now you have a situation where the Dolphins didn't have enough weapons in receiver one year, and then they loaded up on receivers. All the DBs get hurt, like 12 different rotations of DBs get hurt in 2022. And 2023, the Dolphins come back with the deepest DB room in the NFL, which was super solid. Added Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
All type of talent in the DB room. Cam Smith, 2nd round pick. We're not having a problem ever again with not enough DBs. Your 2 edge rushers go down in the middle of the season, and the Dolphins come back the next offseason and say, that's never going to happen again. We're never going to not have enough pass rush. So I like Mo, but I like Malik Washington a little bit more, Kadeem. Touche 24, Malik Washington, bro. I want y'all to understand who Malik Washington is. Another blue chip character, right? If you remember on my Touche 24 episode, our Touche 24 episode, I was like, yo, none of these receivers are like X receivers. There's Devontae Walker. I think he fit the Miami Dolphins, but there was a lot of slot receivers left. And I did not know if the Dolphins would consider a slot receiver this late in the process. And yes, we kind of need a third option and stuff like that. But Malik Washington, number 11 here on this Touche 24 graphic. Shout out to Lanre. Malik Washington, Kadeem, is built different in like physically. His yak yards after catch and his break tackles, bro, is unparalleled. Are unparalleled to any other slot receiver the Miami Dolphins have had. You know who I compare this man to? Who do you think Malik Washington's, my comparison, pre-draft comp for Malik Washington was Jarvis Landry. So everybody's saying let's go get Jarvis Landry, bring Juice back, which I don't want to bring Juice back. He's older, bro. Like, he don't got it, bro. There's not enough juice left. You know what I'm saying? So what do we do, bro? We go draft the younger Juice. Now, will he be Jarvis Landry? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to have 100 receptions for the first 3 seasons as a Miami Dolphin. He's not going to have to do that. But the fact that we have him, dude is built like a running back after the catch. And he's going to be a weapon. And I said this last year. I'm going to say it again this year. I don't know if Braxton Berrios makes the team. I know I said that. I know I said that. And I was surprised when he did make it, and I was cool with it. But I don't know if Braxton Berrios makes the team with this Malik Washington pick.
I think the Mo Kamara thing is really interesting. You know, if they say they had got Troy Fatanu in the first round, but somewhere different in the second round, all that kind of stuff, and Kamara sitting there, cool, fair enough, great, they do what they do. But I also think it's like what you said. Back end of last season, you go into a playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and you got no Van Ginkel, no Chubb, and no Phillips, and you just got like Bruce Irvin and guys down off the street. The Dolphins said, we're not going through this again. Kamara sounds like I think you kind of get to a stage where, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, you don't know how long they're going to be in the NFL for. I think the Dolphins, I know so many people who love the Dolphins day 3 picks because they're like, these guys are legit going to stick around for the next 4 to 5 years. They've all got a great chance of sticking around and being impact players, essentially from day one. It might not be, starting games every single week, but they will come in, they will do well. You look at what Anthony Weaver done in Baltimore last year with their defense, and you bring him, Kamara and other stuff. Washington, I saw ESPN say he was the steal of the 6th round. It's like, 1, how did he fall so far? And 2, how did you allow him to fall to Miami? Like, it's not fair. It makes no sense. And then you bring in Taj Washington, who I believe was from USC, and I believe it was Nick Hicks. Yeah. He was like, everyone gave Caleb Williams a credit, 1st overall pick. His receivers are dudes as well. I think Taj Washington has I think his quarterback rating on catching deep passes was perfect. So if you've got someone who's a legit deep threat target and Tua throws the best deep ball or one of the best deep balls in the NFL, again, you're cooking. I reckon you bring in those 2 guys who have a legit shot of making the roster. You call up OBJ and say, that contract we offered you, it's like if you want to come, it's going to be a new deal. So
sorry, we had 8 and some incentives for you. Now we only got 6 and some incentives for you.
Yeah. So Tim Carroll says, I like the Mo pick, and the guy sounds fired up. Yeah, he sounds like he's angry to fall where he did, and he's going to make an impact straight away. Jason Keck says it's not who he wanted, but at least they made an attempt, and hopefully he's armed as replacement. I think they did a great job for what they had available. Yeah, I think the last few picks sound like they went really, really, really well. And again, like I said, they sound like the guys who I'll be interested to see how they get on in training camp and in preseason. But don't be surprised if you're seeing, especially in certain situations, you see Malik Washington or Taj Washington or Mo Kamara on the field and make an impact. It might not be early on in the season, but it'll be a bit later on as MDC joins the chat and says fins up.
Yeah, Malik Washington's going to contribute this year. Maybe I was going to say right away, he's going to, bro. Eric Ezukama got pressure, bro.
I was just going to say that.
Like he got pressure. Listen, and I know Mike McDaniel is unlocking some things to the offense. That first year we had Trent Sherfield basically doing zoom motions and just being a blocker all the time. And then we unlocked it and unraveled it to multiple receivers. It looked more like a traditional, you have slot receivers out there, right? Now I have no idea what this receiver room is going to look like when Chris Greer has Jonnu Smith, Malik Washington available, some other options. Taj Washington has a real big hill to climb. Dude is like 5'7", like 170. He's like 5'8", 170, like 5'9", 170. Like, dude, like, bro, dog is very slim, Holmes, and I don't know how that works out and on this level. But I don't put it past anybody. You know what I'm saying? But man, this is gonna be fun. So this is why I feel like the Dolphins saved themselves. Like, all right, I see what you did there. You know what I'm saying? So Sherrod Steve just texted me. This is like the third episode in a row where Sherrod Steve texted me while we're recording.
He wants to be here. Sherrod Steve wants to be here. It's cool.
Yo, it's about that time, bro. Sherrod. So I think we're gonna be all right. I didn't love what we did, but I'm okay with what we did. I just wish we were more intentional, bro. I feel like we let everybody dictate around us. And I text you during the job like, yo, I wish we was a little more aggressive. Mason McCormick went right before us. Troy Fautanu went right before us. And I will say this about Touche 24 and those players that went before us. I don't love that 3 of them went to the same team because, one, the Steelers O-line is not that good. It's never that good. So I question the coaching of the Steelers O-line. And if these boys don't pan out, it'll be, oh, they're bust. And, oh, the Steelers aren't good coaching when it comes to O-line. And another thing is you can't start 3 rookies, bro. You have to have a mixture. Maybe you can, but you have to have a mixture of veteran presence on the O-line mixed with young talent. So I think they went O-line last year too. So if you have 4 first-year and second-year starters on the O-line, I don't love that for Pittsburgh, bro. But we'll get into that on Extra Point. That's all we got right now, unless you got something.
No, it's funny. I'll keep it brief. Also, shout out to Hammer. We'll get to this. We'll get to tight ends a bit later on. Like, not in today's episode. We got so much time over the next few months to talk about tight end, wide receivers, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's funny you said that. You don't like Pittsburgh aren't going to start. 3 rookies on the offensive line. But I can't lie. Had we picked up Jackson Powers-Johnson and Troy Fautanu, I would have said, yo, I'm starting both those guys. Sorry, Zach Frazier and Troy Fautanu.
So but my thing is, it's Pittsburgh though. Like, they're not proven to make these boys better. So that's where I don't like it, because I don't trust Pittsburgh to make them boys better. And all of them went there. I'm like, I don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we have a situation where Lynn Bowden Jr. was drafted, and before the week 1 of the season came up, he was traded in the same offseason. Maybe we need to be on the phone with Pittsburgh. That's all I'm saying, because I don't think Pittsburgh know what they're doing with those boys.
Maybe we do, but we will discuss the rest of the NFL drafts on Patreon. So if you're subscribed to Patreon already, we'll see you over there. If not, maybe you get a subscription, because off season, so much content both here on YouTube and Patreon. But we shall see you guys on the next one, where we talk about UDFAs, and we've got a draft giveaway for everyone who entered the draft giveaway. We shall see you on the next one. Peace.